Can you tell me what over there is worth dying for? I'm Addie Banks, and this is my report. World Associated Press. Explainer. Fewer people cross Mediterranean. Many still die. Nicole Winfield, October 7th, 2022. Rome. Back-to-back shipwrecks of migrant smuggling boats off Greece has once again put the spotlight on the dangers of the Mediterranean migration route. The risks migrants and refugees are willing to take, and the political infighting that has thwarted a safe European response to people fleeing war, poverty, and climate change. Here's a look at the migration situation across the Mediterranean. What happened to two smuggler boats off Greece? Bodies floated amid splintered wreckage off a Greek island on Thursday as the death toll from separate sinking of two migrant boats rose to 22, with about a dozen still missing. The vessels went down hundreds of miles apart, in one case prompting a dramatic overnight rescue effort as island residents and firefighters pulled shipwrecked migrants to safety up steep cliffs. The Greek shipwreck came just days after Italy commemorated the 9th anniversary of one of the deadliest Mediterranean shipwrecks in recent history. The October 3rd, 2013 capsizing of a migrant ship off Lampedusa, Sicily, in which 368 people died. What are the trends in Mediterranean migrant arrivals? So far this year, the International Organization of Migration has recorded around 109,000 irregular arrivals to the Mediterranean countries of Italy, Spain, Greece, Cyprus, and Malta by land or sea. This has made immigration a hot political topic in those European Union nations. UN refugee officials note that overall, numbers of migrants seeking to come to Europe this way has decreased over the years to an average of around 120,000 annually. They call that a relatively manageable number, especially compared to the 7.4 million Ukrainians who have fled their homeland this year to escape Russia's invasion and were welcomed by European countries. We've seen how quickly and how rapidly a response was mounted to deal with that situation in a very humane and commendable way, says Shabir Mantel, spokesperson for the UN Refugee Agency in Geneva. If we can see that happen very concretely in this situation, why can't it be applied to 120,000 people that are coming across to Europe on a yearly basis? Clearly, the perspective of an immigrant. Others see Europe's harsh response to Mediterranean migrants who often come from Africa and its welcoming of Slavic Ukrainian migrants as racist. How dangerous is the Mediterranean? So far this year, the IOM has reported 1,522 deaths or missing migrants in the Mediterranean. Overall, the IOM says 34,871 migrants have died or gone missing in the Mediterranean since 2014, with the real number believed to be even higher, given the number of shipwrecks that never get reported. The voyage toward Italy has been confirmed to be the most dangerous, said the ISMU Foundation in Italy, which conducts research on migration trends. The Central Mediterranean migration route that takes migrants from Libya to Tunisia, north to Europe, is the deadliest known migration route in the world, accounting for more than half of the reported deaths in the Mediterranean that IOM has tracked since 2014. The route has Italy as its prime destination. What are the deadliest known smuggling shipwrecks? On April 18, 2015, the Mediterranean's deadliest known shipwreck in living memory occurred when an overcrowded fishing boat collided 77 nautical miles off Libya with a freighter that was trying to come to its rescue. Only 28 people survived. At first, it was feared the hull held the remains of 700 people. Forensic experts who set out to try to identify all the dead concluded in 2018 that there were originally 1,100 people on board. On October 3rd, 2013, a trawler packed with more than 500 people, many from Eritrea and Ethiopia, caught fire and capsized within sight of an uninhabited island off Italy's southern island of Lampedusa. Local fishermen rushed to try to help save lives. In the end, 155 survived and 368 people died. 1 week later, a shipwreck occurred on October 11, 2013, further out at sea, 60 miles south of Lampedusa, in what has been known as in Italy as the slaughter of children. In all, more than 260 people died, and 60 of those were children. The Italian news weekly El Espresso in 2017 published the audio recordings of the migrants' desperate calls for help and Italian and Maltese authorities seemingly delaying the rescue. How has migration divided the EU's 27 nations? Mediterranean countries have for years complained that they have been left to bear the brunt of welcoming and processing migrants, and have long demanded other European countries step up and take them in. Poland, Hungary, and other Eastern European nations refuse an EU plan to share the burdens for caring for migrants. Human rights groups have condemned how the EU in recent years has outsourced migrant rescues to the Libyan Coast Guard, which brings the migrants back to horrific camps on land where many are beaten, raped, and abused. Over the years, the route has changed, but not the tragedies, said a church organization as it commemorated the 2013 Lampedusa anniversary this week. Working with other Christian groups, the Catholic Charity has brought more than 5,000 refugees to Italy via humanitarian corridors and has called for more safe passages to be organized so migrants don't have to risk dangerous Mediterranean crossings with smugglers. The number of desperate immigrants who die while trying to get into the United States keeps rising. Adolfo Flores, October 5th, 2022, U.S. BuzzFeed News. Immigrant footprints stretch across shifting sand near the United States border on September 28, 2022, at the Imperial Sand Dunes in California. The number of immigrant deaths along the U.S.-Mexican border is on the rise, which advocates and researchers said is the result of strict immigration policies and worsening conditions in native countries. Since October, the start of the 2022 fiscal year, there have been 748 immigrant deaths at the border. CNN reported. U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, has not officially released the numbers and declined to provide them. The figure is likely an undercount. In April 2022, report from the United States Government Accountability Office found that Border Patrol had not collected, recorded, or reported complete data on immigrant deaths to the Congress. The dangers of trying to enter the United States undetected garnered national attention in June when authorities discovered the bodies of 53 immigrants who died in a sweltering tractor trailer on the outskirts of San Antonio. The 748 deaths are an increase from the previous year record of 557 in fiscal year 2021. CBP reported 247 deaths along the southern border in 2020, 300 in 2019, and 281 in 2018. Death. In the pictures, I see a majority of young men fleeing their homelands because their government is not providing resources and conditions for a worthwhile life at home. What is the world doing about this? I also see healthy migrants who left stable lives at home for better life opportunities elsewhere. Regardless of their homeland conditions, most encounter exorbitant expenses and hardships that may include rape, kidnapping, torture, robbery, and other abuses. Why? Because of a dream of a better life over there? When they are not welcomed, they feel cheated. They feel mistreated. Who is telling the world that nobody wants to take care of citizens from other countries? I've reported on deaths of people from India and people south of the border seeking the American dream. 2022 is a new year, with Americans saying enough is enough. Rent, food, fuel bills, increasing an unstable American economy. Americans are suffering. Competition for life-sustaining jobs has been a source of competition and violence and riots, not only in America, but around the world. Many countries, though, depend on migrants sending remittances home to help the national GDP. They encourage their young, healthy citizens to go abroad, find jobs, and help home. What are we going to do about that? Church groups should be warned that risk of death is not acceptable when they encourage and welcome migrants to come. Don't they teach that God provides for the faithful and planted in every homeland resources for their people to develop and use? God said, believe and trust right where you are. We need to hold leaders accountable worldwide for the care of those entrusted to them at home. They need to be a blessing to their citizens.